throws. He lays out and makes the catch.
And we are back for another episode of the Double Switch Podcast. Week 2 is in the books, and not much has gone right in 2 weeks. We were kind of hoping for a better week this week and got a whole lot of the same. It was disappointing, and it was kind of promising at the same time. It was a really weird week because when we were good, we were really good. We showed all that potential that we thought we had. But when we were bad, we were just showing all the problems that we had throughout the first week. It seems like we're kind of just swaying back and forth from where we really want to be. And it's kind of stressful. You can tell by the reactions throughout the fan base. You can certainly tell by the reactions on WIP and some of the prominent Phillies personalities. This is not going according to plan. And we are 10% through the season, which is really weird to think about. I heard somebody say that 162 game season and we're 16 games in, and we're not on the right path, Johnny, and we have to turn it around soon, or we're going to be in the danger zone, the area where you force your hand and you have to be better, or your season's just going to go down the drain. And haven't done it yet.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong. Things are scary. It's definitely what I'm calling an April to forget. I don't think it's ever been our best month, but yeah, you're absolutely right. We've seen some of the best baseball, and we've seen that this team knows how to win games in a good fashion too. I mean, when everything's clicking, this team's really fun to watch. I just don't think we've found that middle yet. It's either win great or lose horribly. I think that's a growing pain that this team is going through, but I'm not sounding alarms. If we're still this low 500 at 25% through the season, then I'm worried.
Yeah, we'd have problems if we were at this win percentage throughout a quarter of the season.
It's still April.
It's still April. It's so early. It's sometimes really hard to tell that it's this early. It feels like, we've been playing for a little bit now. What complicates it most for me is the fact that you have really, really good players performing super well. Most notably, the young guys, Bryson Stott, Brandon Marsh, Alec Bohm, just tearing the cover off the ball.
Absolutely.
They look just every ounce of potential that they had. They are fulfilling it right now. And it's so promising. And it's what we hoped for coming into the season. We kind of said that if these guys step up and they become what we think they can become, this team's going to be good. But the problem is some of the veterans, specifically the rotation still has not really come into form. Aaron Nola has not looked quite as sharp as he had at points throughout last season. JT is doing that thing again where he gets off to a really slow start and drives everybody nuts. He tends to do that. Trea Turner has yet to hit a home run. I don't know what's going on there, but we didn't pay $300 million for a slap hitter. Would like a little more power. And, even down to the bullpen, Craig Kimbrell's been a disaster. Sir Anthony Dominguez, I don't even have words for Sir Anthony. He's been so bad. But Alvarado has been lights out. It's just this, it's this pendulum that's swinging back and forth, and it makes it all really confusing, just really confusing.
Yeah, I don't think there's any good way to interpret what's going on as a Phillies fan. It doesn't make sense, but although it makes zero sense in my brain, I have zero doubt that they're going to get back on track and be a well above 500 team come May.
Yeah, no, I think we're to the point now, especially doing this podcast all last season, where we really don't get worried about anything. It's trained us to listen to ourselves react, and we've gotten pretty good at just not panicking. It's one of the best things to come out of this, honestly. But there's actually some concern levels with some of these players. I'll throw it to you first. Where are you at with some of these veterans who are really struggling? Do any of them concern you? I know that Trea Turner's doing a bunch of good things, but the power's not there. JT has done this before. Um, just any of the names, just pick out a couple guys who you are a little concerned about with the start, and you're not 100% sure they're going to bounce back to the player you thought they would.
I guess the two players that really come to mind. First, Aaron Nola. I've really tried to have his back since doing this podcast, but I do think he is going to regress this season, and I think he'll still be effective. But I mean, you got to start. I think we're after the season, people are going to look at Aaron Nola as more of a 2-3 starter when he hits his 30s, because we just haven't seen the command that we're so used to from Nola. That fastball curveball combo doesn't seem to have the fastball. He gets curveball dependent, and now he's throwing a cutter like all the time. It's like he's kind of changing the makeup of the pitcher who he is, and that is what worries me. If you're at this point in your career and you have to start, if you're changing what makes you, that worries me big time.
Yeah, the one thing about Nola, that start, his last Red start, I really, the stats came out good and it was a good line, but we were up like 10 runs throughout the entire game.
He didn't look good,
and he didn't really look good.
No.
He's just something's not right. I mean, he was sitting like 80, 89, 90,
Yeah.
and it's just, you got to kind of wonder what's the problem here between them pitching deep into October. I know I've said that before, but I'm starting to think that might be a problem for a lot of these guys. And Aaron Nola, if he's not 100% sharp, he settles into a pretty mediocre pitcher. No one wants to admit it because we all love Aaron Nola, but the margin's very thin for him to be super effective. And we're seeing him at not his best right now, and it's resulted in just an average pitcher. And for someone who wants a lot of money this offseason, for someone we're counting on a lot throughout this entire season, it's definitely alarming.
Yeah, I guess my second guy that I'm more mildly concerned, less than Nola. Nola's probably my number one. Trea Turner, you're right. The pop isn't even coming with like extra base hits. Like I don't even need the home runs yet, but I would like to see that gap power now. It will show up.
Where?
He's too good of a player for it to not show up at all, but it might just be a weird little stretch because he's hitting the shit out of the ball, just spraying it. He's doing what Alec Boehm did last year.
I know. I hear you there, and I'm not super worried, but
it's like him and Alec Boehm switch player profiles.
We're 10% through the season and no home runs for a $300 million batter. I mean, if he wasn't batting like 340 and he was batting like 250, we'd be up in arms right now and we'd demand our money back. It's annoying. That's kind of all there is to it. It's annoying, and he's done his best without the power. He's still been very effective, but yeah, I kind of want some pop out of him. I want some pop out of. Has Castellanos even hit a home run?
No, but he leads the league in doubles. I mean,
oh my god, yeah, let's get some homers here. I'm a little sick of the singles, and it's part of the reason that we kind of can't fight our way back into games because we don't have the big hit. We have just a bunch of singles. I kind of agree with you on Trea Turner. I'm a little worried about Sir Anthony. He looks absolutely terrible, and he's a confidence pitcher, and it's not going to come back overnight. So we might be in for a rough stretch here with Sir Anthony for the next couple of weeks. And Craig Kimbrell is starting to think he's kind of washed. I don't know if he's got anything left in the tank.
Told you so.
I know. I thought he would be able to do something, but
yeah, I cracked up.
I
was laughing my ass off when I turned the game on, and he was closing the game when we were up like 12-3, and I was like, wow, like he really should only be allowed in when we have a 10-run lead because that guy is not it. I have no idea why we wasted money on him. That is already the worst contract of the offseason.
Yeah, he's useless. I don't trust him
at
all.
We wasted like $10 million for really no reason. Just to have a low-leveraged veteran reliever.
Yeah, he hasn't brought an ounce of stability to the team, and he's getting paid a lot of money to just not be good. So that sucks. But
I guess I didn't mention I think you're wrong about Sir Anthony. I think we're going to see it turn around real
Oh,
soon.
I think we will too, but I don't know when that's going to be. I don't know if it's going to
Soon.
be. You think?
Yeah.
I hope you're right because this bullpen that we were so confident in is suddenly a little thin behind Jose Alvarado. You talk about right-handed options, and suddenly Andrew Bellotti is the best right-handed option out of the pen, which is fine because he's very good. But you kind of hope that the other righties would be ahead of him in the pecking order. But it's fine, no big deal. It's baseball, and it's all normal. The one thing that is kind of getting on my nerves is the bad base running. I really hate that. It's not even like that hard. Like, sure, I'm sitting here. I'm not a baseball player, but you just shouldn't be taking stupid risks like that. And it's everybody, which is that's the weirdest thing. You can't point fingers at one guy. I've seen so many base running blunders from just everybody on the team. Um, I don't know what's going on there because it wasn't a problem last year, and it's largely the same team. So that's kind of weird.
Yeah, the Phillies seem to have this thing where everything they do is contagious with the team, whether it's like good things, then good things happen to everyone. And when they start doing bad things, the other guys can't like push that away. They just have to grab onto the bad too. It's really aggravating, but hopefully they learn to knock it the hell off.
Yeah, that's just rough to watch. It's when those things happen, you just want to turn the TV off, and that's saying something because I'm willing to watch just about anything. But that's really the bad. As for the good, Bryson Stott he's here. He's here, and he's probably solidified himself in that leadoff spot, which is something that I know we've thrown around for a while. Um, he's perfect there. He's absolutely perfect there.
Mhm.
He's batting over 400. He's gotten a hit in every single game this season. And like I said, we're 10% through the season, which is crazy. Yeah, just awesome work by him and K Long this offseason for making those adjustments and really getting bat on ball on throughout the count, early in the count, later in the count. He just battles, and it's awesome to see that in the leadoff spot. And I'm kind of expecting him to stay there for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I really don't see the point of taking him out of that spot. I think me and you are kind of onto it early. Just his player profile, his plate discipline, and his just like some of those accounts he can work, the pitches he can foul waste. It's a valuable asset in leadoff spot. But I think it does kind of mess up the whole Kyle Schwarber situation
You think it's messing with
because I don't
Schwartz?
know where else he's a good hitter.
I do hear you there.
And I've heard a lot of people talking about this because Kyle Schwarber is going to leave a lot of guys on base, and I don't think those people are wrong. Is he like a cleanup guy, like or a 3-4 kind of guy? I don't know. Maybe he's more of a 5 hole.
Yeah, I just like the dynamic of the top of this lineup with Bryson there instead of Schwarber. Um, there's going to be a point where we have to ask ourselves whether Schwarb's performs so well because he's in that leadoff spot and he's comfortable there, and it's largely low leverage there. That's the one thing about the leadoff spot. You're usually not coming up with runners in scoring position. He has a lot of solo home runs to his name last year, and if he's in that run producing role, it's safe to say maybe we shouldn't expect the same thing. It's not like you can just move a guy and he'll perform. Baseball players are pretty weird like that. Three spot is probably the most logical. That's where he's kind of been lately. I don't know if he likes it, but I, I don't know. I mean, you kind of have to take a step back and look at what puts the team in the best position. And are Schwarb's solo home runs really worth messing up what Bryson's got going on? And does Bryson need to be moved down? It's a really good question that we're gonna have to kind of face eventually, especially with Bryce getting healthy, because Bryce is just a logical 3 hitter. He's gonna fit perfectly there. you're not going to bet Bryce Harper fifth. Bryce Harper's going to be third, and Topper's not going to want to put two lefties back to back, 3 and 4. So there's going to be some questions here, but Bryson's making it really, really, really hard for me to think Schwarber should be back in that leadoff spot.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the conversation that just we all have all season long, because I know everyone has strong opinions about the leadoff spot. For me, I don't feel passionately super crazy about how important the leadoff spot is, but when I see a guy that knows what to do with it, I notice it, and that's what Stott's doing right now. I think the only logical route is to have, when Harper comes back, it'll have to be Stott 1, Harper 3, Schwarber 5. And then Bowman, Real Muto, interplaceable in there.
Yeah, Topper hasn't really shown a desire to move Alec Bohm up in the lineup. I don't really know what's going on there, but he seems to want to stick him down there at the bottom, 6, 7. I think he's been in the 8th spot over the first 2 weeks. Why is that? Do you have any guesses on why he's doing that?
I guess just to keep getting him good pitches to hit. I honestly, I don't think Alec Bohm's necessarily a guy like a Brandon Marsh, who we know it can hit hit certain pitches better than the others. Alec Bohm, I don't think it really matters where he's hitting in the lineup. I thought that was weird as well. I think maybe it's a caution thing.
I see the argument for keeping.
Why not try?
Yeah, I see the argument for keeping Marsh lower in the lineup because he hasn't been a high-level hitter for very long, but I think Bohm's ready for that spot, whether it be the cleanup spot, batting behind Trea Turner, JT. I think he's ready for the moment because, you and I are the captains of the Alec Bohm train. We are taking this train cross country, and we were picking up all kinds of people on the way who are finally starting to realize that Alec Bohm has the potential to be the second best hitter in this lineup. I said that. You remember me saying that, right? I do. I think you might have questioned it when I said it.
A little bit.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind at this point that Alec Bohm is a 330 homer player in the making. And he's getting comfortable. Unfortunately, I think that he's probably kind of swinging for the fences now, which is not something that I thought I'd say about him after last season. But he is much more aggressive, and he has the bat to ball skills to bail himself out. After taking those big hacks early in the count. He's ready. He's here, and he is ready.
Yeah. So Rob Thompson, if you're listening, why not slide the guy into the 2-hole? Give it a try. I think it would be the optimal lineup when Harper gets back. So let's try it now, because Harper's coming.
Harper is coming. We'll get to that in a sec.
I think that's our next combo.
last but not least, with the active players, Brandon Marsh.
You got it, Marshy.
This is more than I thought that he was going to do. I thought that he'd take some, baby steps, bump the average up a little, bump the power up a little. He looks completely different. And it's not just, a hot streak. He looks confident. He's hitting the ball harder. He's going up there with a purpose, and it's frustrating to see him out of the lineup at any point. But it's really frustrating seeing him out of the lineup for Christian Pache. So if Tomper's listening to this, Brandon Marsh has to be in the lineup. You would rather have Brandon Marsh out there against a tough lefty and just figure it out. Like, that outweighs the benefit of Christian Pache, getting a single against, a tough lefty. It's just, he has all the tools that is Brandon Marsh, and he's getting comfortable. You don't want to mess with that rhythm. Keep him in the lineup against everybody. I don't care if it's Chris Sale. Keep him in the lineup.
I got you.
Agreement? Yeah. Are we in agreement there?
I think I agree, and I know it's a very hot point right now. And I think that what's clearly going to happen, because Brandon Marsh is a dog, and he knows that rent's due every single game. He can't just coast. He plays his ass off every single night. Sometimes he makes silly mistakes, but Thompson's going to see how hard he's playing. And honestly, Rob Thompson kind of in a weird spot when they traded for Christian Pache, because the guy you can't send him down to the minors. He's all out of options. So I mean, if I'm Rob, like maybe I'm seeing if this guy has any productivity left in him. In April, I think we're all learning right now he doesn't. And Marsh is that guy. I don't think it's going to be a year-long debate. I think it'll be solved pretty damn soon.
Yeah, so if you really,
Brandon Marsh is about to be my favorite player. He's really growing.
yeah, so if you really want Christian Pache in the lineup, and you're starting to think about him as like a piece, why not stick him in left field and DH Schwartz? Why are we putting Josh Harrison out there, who is going to be here for 1 year, who probably can't hit anymore? Let's be real. He's like 36, and he was fringy even when he was at his best. If you really, really want Pache to get those at bats, just have him take his at bats, because Harrison's finding his way into this lineup just about every night. So I don't understand the logic there one bit. And
no, you hit that one on the head, because you're right. I mean, if we're going to be trying to get Christian Pache some at bats, put him in for like a rest day for Castellanos, or when either Castellanos or Schwarber is slotted into the DH. Put him in one of the corners, because Brandon Marsh needs to keep the trajectory of his defense. He needs to keep improving. Not being out there every day is part of the reason he has some bad nights out there. He's a good defensive center fielder. He just needs to play every damn night.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, who's a better left fielder, 36-year-old Josh Harrison or 24-year-old Christian Pache? There's no reason Harrison should ever be starting unless it's a position that nobody else can play. Maybe if Bomer wants a night off or something, I don't know, something like that. But we have a fourth outfielder that's taking at bats away from Brandon Marsh. Like that's not going to work. But we can't dwell on this for too long, because there's one more big topic we want to hit.
And it's positive. It's not negative.
Bryce Harper's not human, man. He's
a freak.
He had his UCL replaced in November. And, man, I'm talking – this is like 6 months out. And they're saying that not only is he, like, hitting balls into the second deck right now, he's going to possibly play first base, and he's possibly going to come back without a rehab assignment. So he's going to just go straight into this lineup, and I don't even – like, I fully think he can. Like, I feel like he's going to come in and just, maybe give him a couple games to get his timing right, but there's nothing on a baseball field that Bryce Harper can't do. He is an otherworldly talent, and I just don't even understand how he's coming back this early. It's insane.
Yeah, it really does. It just defies all logic for what we've known about surgeries and UCL surgeries specifically. I mean, a decent amount. You're a pitcher. You know how the elbow works and all. And it's just absolutely crazy to. I mean, what are they saying the ETA is looking like now? Like mid-May?
I think they're saying mid-May now, which is
that's bonkers. We were talking in the off season, and we didn't. I think I said late July, August 1st, something like that. I thought that was a pretty fair estimate, but this guy is a creature that is not like us.
How do you feel about first base for him? Do you think that's a good home for him later in the season, and maybe farther down the line towards the end of his contract?
It's definitely interesting. I mean, he has a catcher's background, playing like he came up as a catcher and all when he was younger, and I'm sure he can play the position. He's Bryce Harper, and honestly, he was never that great of a right fielder. He's like we all know how Harper can be. He thinks he's better at a lot of things, kind of like base running. I think right field is one of them. I think first base he'd be less of a liability defensively, and him doing like switching to that this season could really help us with the DH flexibility that we didn't have last year when he got hurt.
Yeah, I like it. I know personally people who don't like it, but I think it's a good idea because it's really going to be tough to tell Bryce Harper to not take risks, especially as he gets older. He's not that type of player. He always goes for the double, even though he clearly shouldn't do it. And sometimes, he's not the smartest baseball player, especially in the field. When he takes routes and he just doesn't look super comfortable out there in right field. At first base, it's really kind of hard to take risks like that unless you're diving into
I
the
think
dugout
I
after
think
the
we're
catch.
seeing that with Bomer. We've seen Bohm play, and I mean, it's not the hardest thing.
Yeah, people talk it up and they make it sound really hard. It's not that hard. If you play some of the positions that these guys play that require the athleticism, especially in the outfield, you can play first base unless you're just terrible in the field. Like there's certain players who just can't. But Bryce Harper will be able to as he gets older. It might be able to be a way to keep him healthy. And no, I like it, especially coming back. It's going to be nice to get him in the field because last season when he was clogging up the DH spot, guys were getting tired, and when they got tired, we kind of had to take him off the field, stick him on the bench. But we can transition them to the DH now and kind of spread out the workload among the team instead of just Bryce clogging everything up. No, I like it, and even I'm down the road. It's interesting to kind of think about this now. Rhys Hoskins, after the surgery, he might want a 1-year deal, prove it deal. And where's a better place to do that than Philadelphia, where he's beloved? And if he takes a prove it deal, he might not be able to play first base for a little bit, especially early in the season. And if Bryce Harper's playing first base, that means a DH spot's open. And you know who could DH in that situation? Rhys Hoskins. It makes sense. There's a lot of different ways to look at it. I do think Bohm's done a pretty good job over there, and I think Edmundo's done a good job at third base. We're pretty fortunate right now because there's a really loud car. We're really fortunate because there's a ton of flexibility, and credit to Bryce for kind of stepping up and doing that. It's not easy to make that big of a change, but he'll be all right.
Yeah, it can never hurt to have a guy learn an extra position. It can never be too flexible.
No, I agree. And hopefully he's back sooner rather than later because we need him. We need help, and we need to start winning soon. But that should do it for this episode. Do you have anything else you want to hit?
No, let's smoke the White Sox and let's get that momentum going.
I think we avoid Cease, right?
We do.
That's good for business.
It is. I think we would strike out a ton against him. So
yeah, we would strike out a ton against him. But no Cease. So this series is already off to a good start. And with that being said, thank you guys as always for listening. Sixers playoff chase, super interesting stuff too. Go check out Pick Swap Media podcast and give them a listen because they're breaking it all down. Probably right now, those guys are always at it with the Sixers. So go give them a listen. Good stuff. But as always, thank you guys, and we will talk to you soon.
Go Phils.